Hello, welcome, and thank you for tuning in to the Newcastle Student Union presidential debates. Before the debates are beginning, I've got to read out a statement of respect from the uni. NUSU welcomes all Newcastle University students to the 2023 election debates organised and broadcast by NUSU Student Media. Our priority is to facilitate a fair and democratic election, and we believe in freedom of speech and the right for all students to express their views. However, we will not tolerate harassment or discrimination of any kind. We ask that at all times you treat fellow students, colleagues and staff with respect. Anyone displaying rude, aggressive or other inappropriate behaviour within the question submission form or in the room will immediately be removed and will be unable to play an active role in this or future debates relating to the 2023 student elections. Welcome. With that, please sit back, relax and enjoy our final debates.
Hello. Can you all introduce yourselves before we begin?
Hi there, I'm Anurag Roy. I'm currently doing my master's in electrical engineering. And right now I am the secretary of SSC as well as a member of BOS and as well, I'm the CR of my module. So I do have a bit experience on that field. It's a totally new world to me, but let's see how it goes. Over to you.
My name is Abdul Maya. I'm a fourth-year research student. I'm the president of Politics Society, secretary of the Planning Society, and an intern at the School of History, Classics, and Archaeology. My main message is about reform and innovating the systems within NUSU. I want to redefine what it means to have a student experience here, and I think I'm the only person with a strategic vision and a strategy to how we can get there.
Hi there, everyone. So my name is Shah, pronouns he, him. I'm a current student trustee at NUSU. I'm a former presidential candidate I ran last year. I'm also a former faith and belief officer. I've done various roles within NUSU, such as being on the steering committee for NUSU Council, scrutiny committee, and so on and so forth. My main message is about helping students through the cost of living crisis, because frankly, we're one of the hardest hit groups through the cost of living crisis, and I think the university should do more to help students.
Hey everyone, my name is Rajneesh. I'm doing advanced computer science and I like to explore my life, and that's it. Thank you.
Great. My first question for all of you is, what is your main goal in office, starting with you?
Well, my first day, if I'll say, I'll be first meeting with Maddie. She's the current president of NUSU. Without her guidance, without how she dealt with everything, I won't be anything, right? So first that I'll be doing, and the following will be, I'll be looking at the stuff that is currently stuck, that is not currently moving at the moment. So I'll be analyzing those, and then hold meetings with the CRs, which I am currently right now, and yeah, we have lots of power to do that. We can make things move very fast. So far, I haven't thought of it totally, but yeah, on top of my head, I'll be meeting the current administration.
My main goal in office is about reform and innovation. I think NUSU at the moment doesn't represent the vast majority of students, and this is a problem, and we have a lot of waste inside NUSU as a result of that. We need to bring power back to the students, we need to revitalize the society system and the exec system within, and we need to change the reform the financial system so that the money, where it's being wasted, can go directly into the pockets of students, which again is really relevant during this cost of living crisis.
So my main goal is to help students with the cost of living crisis. With inflation at 9%, and with the university taking in over hundreds of millions of pounds every year, I think the support that they've provided has been currently ridiculous, to say the least. And they need to provide more support. I also want to do more to help students with mental health. With 1 in over 5 students being diagnosed with a mental health condition, according to Mind, I do think that the university needs to provide more support with mental health. And I also further want to help students through raising awareness of things like sexual violence, especially with the number of students who have been affected by this. So yeah, that's my main focus. Thank you.
Well, my main goal is to, where I see a president is a person who is not about itself. So I believe a president is a person who thinks he can do better for other people. So my main goal is to be let others explore themselves and make their life more easier. Because I see when you enjoy your life, that time you really grows in your life. If you don't enjoy your life, because the job is not, yeah, your life is not about job. It's just a part of your life, the job. So you must really enjoy your life, try to explore it, because if you set too much goals from your early age, you don't see it. I wanted to make everyone more independent decision in their life, to encourage them how they can, So my main goal is to be a president, is to hope I can help as much as possible to the others. Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks for all of your answers. The next question is, how will you work with the main university to make campus a more inclusive place?
Well, when it comes to university, it's something which I have mentioned in my promotional video. We are none without them, and they are none without us. So what I feel like, some of the stuff is being not magnified. There are issues very small, but they can be something bad in the future. So I feel like we should sit with the university every bi-monthly, take a take a survey of every single thing, be it how small, create ballots, create survey links, anonymous links, put your thoughts, put your stuff, whatever it might be. Personal, it might be your education, it might be something you want for your research, go for it. If you want something, you want funds, suppose currently I'm working on a project, I need fundings. So I'm not getting the current fund. So what I would be doing, like if I go to a professor, he has a very tight schedule. He won't be able to give me the time as well as fund. So students must have that kind of support from the NUSU. Like if they want something, be it anything, drop your message. Drop us a message, we'll analyze it. If it's viable, it's doable, we'll try everything to do that. And it should be done amicably, not by like, I'll fight you to the end, I'll fight the university. Because fighting does nothing. After all, someone will waste a career, someone will waste their time. Everyone has a very valuable time right now. So that's my thought for now.
Thank you.
So first of all, with terms of grading, in terms of inclusivity, we need to ensure that people feel that whilst they're at university, all their talents are respected. The way we assess things at university at the moment is very, very technicalist, it's very rigid. So I think we need to work with the university through constant negotiations and constant conversations to add to the higher education experience report, the HERE report, a way to calculate and technicalize the kind of rigor that students put into their educational studies. So this would go alongside your main goals, such as your grades in terms of first class, second class, but a second grade that would go alongside that, which would represent that issue. Secondly, when it comes to inclusivity, I think a lot of students get kind of like cast out of the university locus, the university's like ecosystem, if you like. So we get a lot of students who remain isolated and therefore suffer like mental health issues as a result of that. NUSU needs to do more things to make sure that those people are reached out by our societies, by our projects, rather than just the clique who currently orbit NUSU. So this means kind of having tests to ensure that all money spent within campus has a kind of value per reach, if you like, and only then can students who currently aren't involved in NUSU facilities come and enjoy the experience. I think the fact that this election will probably only get a voter turnout of 1/5 tells you how non-inclusive NUSU and the wider campus community is at the moment. So that's what I would do.
Thank you.
Right, so in my manifesto, I've actually mentioned that I want to increase the number of food options available for vegan, halal, and kosher food options. Being a Muslim student myself, I believe the variety is not massive. So it's real difficult to find some great food options available. So one of the things I want to do is increase those food options, to make students from all communities feel welcome, whether they have a dietary requirement or not. I also want to work with other societies. I've already reached out to the LGBTQ+ society and the Disability Society on how I can improve their student experiences. So I think it's a case of, reaching out to those societies and working with the university to ensure that all students, regardless of the backgrounds they come from, feel included within the university.
Thank you.
For me, to make a campus more inclusive place is by, I think the campus is pretty nice we have, and even if you look at academically or by the way of living, the standard we have. But the thing from my perspective, I see it's like we have a lack of confidence in our students sometimes, and a communication gap maybe. So I believe in order to, learn how to talk to people, we should focus more on that also. Because life is all about a balance, how you can perform well in academic as well as in your personal life too. So if you are too good in academics and you are bad in your life, you don't really go anywhere. So if you have a good balance with your life, that really, no matter which field you go, you can see yourself shining on that field particular. So I believe there's a social skills which we needed more to focus sometimes. Because in the end, you are already a part of world's best university. So I think you have that much potential within yourself that you will succeed one day. You are not gonna have a bad future. Life isn't gonna be bad, but you have make it a belief that it's very hard. It isn't very hard. So try to not think about that much and practice life. Try to make a social goal as well as how you can, relate everything, how you connect all the dots. So that would be my more focus, like how you can be a better person in your life. Because for me, I personally believe that if I become a good person in my life, that is the most satisfaction for me. I don't want to be too much high goal for that. If you are a good person in the end, that really matters. I attended do you mind if I take 2 moments? For this?
Okay. I think we have to wrap it up. Sorry.
All right. I will continue later. Thank you.
Thank you, though. The next question is, what will you do to improve the mental health of students? Yes.
Well, mental health is something I really want to work on. Currently, even I have suffered. Being an international student, I have come after 2 months. I didn't understand. Something was wrong with me. I could not understand. I could not study. I could not focus. And I had no idea. I had no clue what's happening with me. So the thing is that every single people are facing right now, the loneliness. Because we are so overwhelmed with our education, our career, we almost forget to live our life. So what I feel like, we must create some, especially for the international student, being an international student, there should be events with 50% of domestic students, 50% of international students. Both of them should club together for an event. This way, each students will be able to know each other. And that's gonna help a lot. And for me, my friends have rescued me from those sufferings. So I guess mental health is something we should always work on. And we should encourage people to open up, be it anything, open up, speak to someone. And speak with the career service and everything. Everything is, we have resources, just we have to use it. That's all.
Thank you.
I mean, I don't think we can really put plasters on the mental health crisis. Mental health vibes at this university are terrible, seriously bad. I think, but we need to look at the institutional things that create this mental health crisis. For one, the striking lecturers. Whilst we do need to be supporting our lecturers, we need to be looking at our student body first. The fact is, when those lecturers go on strike, there isn't this glue which brings students onto campus every day, so they just don't turn up, they get brought away at their own homes. And if they don't have a support network, their friendship group in place, they simply aren't going to attend, they aren't going to socialize, and that is what causes poor mental health. NUSU can fix this on 2 levels. It can fix it first on working on the infrastructural issue that I mentioned just there with the striking lecturers, and it can also work to bring students onto campus and keep them there. At the beginning of the year, I feel like the onboarding process at NUSU is bad. Students join societies, they might attend the first event, but then they don't return. Why? Because the society system and the project system is set up in a way whereby students will join a society and then the next 5 events will be bar crawls. Bar crawls are useless for making friends, in a long-term strategic way. They're just ways for students to get drunk, get hungover the next day, and then continue their lives without knowing anyone really properly. And I think that my mental health has improved just because of the support network that I've gained as a result of that. But most students don't have access to ready-made group of friends like that. So we need to work on that for sure.
Thank you.
So I think the main thing we need to do is actually invest in the Wellbeing Centre. So I'm not sure if you guys have ever tried to book an appointment to see the advisor of the Wellbeing Centre, but it's really difficult to book. an appointment because the website is frankly quite terrible. So I think we need to first of all revamp the website, but also get specialist advisors in to deal with different mental health issues, ranging from cognitive behaviour to things like depression and stress. So the main thing is get more funding for that, and also, like Abdul said, we need to work on building, helping students create a stronger social network. So, but I think the main thing is, mental health crisis is affecting all students. 1 in 5 students have a recognised diagnosed mental health issue, and I do feel like we need to raise awareness of the current mental health services available on campus, but also increase funding, because if we don't increase funding, then how can we help students?
Thank you.
To improve the mental health for the students, I think I want to resonate it with me first. Like, I believe a human being has a 3 consciousness mind. First one is a follower, second one is a leader, and third one is a explorer. So I've been to the other 2 states in my life. So now I'm currently in the 3rd phase, being an explorer, like to explore new things. Well, for a follower, you just follow the person, try to follow his guidance. But being a leader means you try to lead the group and try to make an influence over other people. And being an explorer is a person who don't care about the groups or people. He likes to, set up his own rules sometimes and try to live life according to him. So for me, I think the mental health lies between if you have a lack of confidence in your life. Because I also went to the well-being center here, the career service, and I met Linda, I think her name is, I'm not sure about her name. But what she did was, she didn't advise me anything. She just listened my problem. And the most of the solution, I just came up with my own words. So the mental health is a problem which you will be solving it by your own self sometimes. You just need a good listener to be. So my advice would be try to speak someone who is a good listener. And you have a brilliant facility like a career guidance, some psychologist with you. So you already have everything. You just need to give it a try. That's it. So thanks.
Thank you. The next question is, what will you do to reduce spiking and other issues that individuals on campus face, such as sexual assault and harassment?
Well, the first thing is to create a safer space. There are events that happen, but it goes unnoticed. Girls doesn't come forward. What I believe, create a so safe zone that if anything happens, tell to someone, talk to someone, and we will dig into it. We should be the first stage is like we are presidents, we are secretaries, that doesn't matter, we are overall friends. You have an issue, come to your friends, we are the friends. We will talk to, we will find a way for you. And these things shouldn't be happening. First of all, we should educate them about sexuality and every single thing. It should be a very common thing. You should make them understand it's not bad. You should teach them the actual difference between genders. We should be amicable in every single thing. So my stuff is like, they should come forward. They shouldn't be like what people will think, what people will say. That's nothing. Just come forward. We'll take action against them. That's all.
Am I allowed to ask follow-up questions? Fab. Sorry. I have a follow-up question for you. But how will you reduce it from happening? Because that's what happens after the fact, is what I've understood from what you said. But how will you essentially prevent fellow students from attacking other students? Because sometimes it's something that can be reduced, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's a very good question, sir, to be honest. Yeah. I'll say the education part. I'll more focus on the education part. Educate them about the issues. People doesn't take it very seriously, and increase the strictness. There should be security. There should be cameras, and they should be operable all the time. And that safe zone is the main thing, I will say.
Thank you.
Well, first of all, what I would say, I don't think cameras stop people spiking somebody. I think there's cameras already looking at women getting spiked in nightclubs, for example. If you have cameras on a street, you'll still get somebody mugging somebody. So in terms of what the university can do, we should be looking at what our competencies actually are. We aren't really in a position to reduce the number of weirdos out there spiking people, but what we can do is encourage the uptake of anti-spiking devices, which I know NUSU gives out for free. I didn't know that, and I also didn't know that NUSU had a plethora of different things like drug testing kits downstairs until I was just there randomly the other day. So encouraging people to uptake those things is something we can do for starters. In terms of other issues that women face, such as sexual assault and harassment, one, we can raise the awareness of these kind of things, but also I don't think it's necessarily a good thing having a panel for males just like giving our opinion on this. I think we need to be consulting with organizations which have done research on this, such as the It Happens Here Society. They have empirical data on this particular issue and doing what they think is necessary, because if we give our opinions, we are suffering the kind of like epistemological limitations that come with our manhood, I guess. But yeah, NUSU should only be sticking to things which we can do and we can achieve, not making empty promises about ending spiking, ending sexual harassment. It's not going to happen, but we can change other things.
Thank you.
So with regards to spiking, yes, we've got the anti-spiking devices, as you've just mentioned, Abjol, just next to the advice centre. And, you know, I also didn't know that we had these anti-spiking devices available. So I think the first thing, like you've said, is to raise awareness of them. So potentially put them in looters in a very obvious place where students can see them. I also think we could train staff at looters as well on, you know, the signs of what, if someone gets spiked, what are the, sort of the symptoms so that they can help them. With regards to sexual violence, the It Happens Here Society actually did a survey last year which found that over 75% of students either were sexually assaulted or knew someone that was sexually assaulted at that time at Newcastle University. So I'm completely committed to adopting and implementing all of the It Happens Here Society recommendations. So I know Maddie, the current president, has done a good job in introducing mandatory consent training, mandatory sexual violence consent training online. And I know she's pushing for it to be in person. So that's something that I'm going to do, but also things like the 24-hour safe space in the Philip Robinson and the other recommendations. I'm fully committed to adopting those. I'm working closely with the It Happens Here Society as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
My answer for spiking is same as you said. We install the anti-spiking device. For sexual harassment and assault, I would say I think woman has a good emotion intelligence as compared to the man, because they can read the emotions more faster than the boy. Because I don't know why but the thing is, the sexual harassment happens when the person doesn't understand or care about other person's emotions. So for me, I think a boy should learn the emotion intelligence. It's like how you can see someone's emotion. And like emotion intelligence is a really good thing in a life to learn, because if you can understand and control your emotions, you can really grow more. And also, if you have ability to control other person's emotion in a right amount, you can do that brilliant, no matter where you go. So I think the emotions of reading other person should be, we should be aware of that, how we can improve our emotion learning skills. And because that's the only way we can, help with to control the harassment things. And yeah.
I have a follow-up question. Sorry again.
Yeah, sure.
But how will you, what strategies would you implement to increase emotional intelligence?
To spread the emotion intelligence word, I think the really thing is you need to influence the people around you first, because I want to share one moment with you guys. I attended a Christianity session yesterday, and there I I wanted to be my decisions to be more independent every time. I don't want it to be get influenced by anyone, other people. But I found it that it's inevitable that you cannot be influenced by others. So you will always get influenced by other people. But the thing is, to be more independent, you have to acknowledge what's the wrong and what's the right. So I believe if you have a good emotional intelligence within yourself, the circle around you gets a reflection of that. So I think first of all we have to change by ourselves, and we can see our reflection within our surroundings. So try to change ourselves in the first.
Thank you. Now, my next questions will be directly for candidates instead of general questions. So my first question is for you, Shah. So one of your manifesto points is increasing jobs on campus. What areas do you plan to create employment in?
So the main area I plan to create employment is around improving the student experience on campus and improving student satisfaction. In fact, if you look at the recent university rankings, according to the Complete University Guide, Newcastle University ranked 119th out of 128 for student satisfaction. So that just shows the appalling nature. So I think the best way to create jobs is show the university the benefit that they would obtain from creating more jobs for students on campus. So this is something, in fact, that the University of Essex has actually implemented. In December, they invested over £100,000 into creating more student jobs around for students around improving the student experience. And I think Newcastle University would benefit from this. So the way I plan to do this is through selling to the university, the benefits that the university would gain from more student jobs around improving student satisfaction, i.e. a higher ranking, which means a better student experience, which means that they can attract more students. So there's benefit for students in the sense that student experience improves. There's benefit for student workers in the sense that, they've got jobs, they can pay their bills, it can help them through the cost of living crisis. And there's benefit for the university in the sense that it improves their reputation, and it ultimately means that they can attract more students, which unfortunately means, because of the business nature of universities, that they can make more money. But there's a benefit for everyone, really. Thank you.
Thank you. My next question for you is let me rephrase it. So in your manifesto, you also stated that you wanted to give all students iPads.
Yes.
How will you go about that? Because funds are quite limited to an extent. So
Yes, so the best way to do this is to actually call the university to account for this. So Teesside University actually offers every single student free iPads. Now, if you look at the revenue that Teesside University takes in, it's about £180 million, whereas the amount of money that Newcastle University takes in is around £560 million, give or take. So that breaks down. So essentially, Newcastle takes in about nearly 3 times what Teesside takes in. So the main thing is, once again, explain to the university the benefit of providing free iPads, i.e. that every student gets the opportunity to partake in education, every student has access to technology, because the cost of living crisis means ultimately that a lot of students cannot afford the latest technology, and as a result of this, unfortunately, they're struggling in their studies. So by providing free iPads, this once again benefits the university in the rankings, because it could improve student satisfaction, but also some rankings are based on the number of students who get 2-1 to first, so once again, it improves that side of things. But if you actually look at the university's financials, they've got over £200 million in cash and cash-like assets, and they made a £21 million surplus in 2020 to 2021. Now, an iPad 10th generation costs about £500. Times that by 30,000 students, that's about £50 million. And that's right at the upper end, because you're assuming that there's going to be no discount for 30,000 if the university orders 30,000 iPads, which surely there will be. And then every year after it will cost about £5 million, so 10,000 students, 10,000 iPads, sorry. But look, at the end of the day, guys, I'll push for this policy. I'll explain the benefits to the university. If they say no, they say no. But I'll tell you one thing: at least I will have tried. And if we don't try, then what are we here for? Let's be ambitious, guys, and let's go for it, and let's try and help as many students as possible. Thank you.
thank you. My next set of questions is for Abdul, and the first one is, how will you work with the university to outsource education during striking, I believe is what you said on your manifesto?
Yeah, so
Yes.
I think during the strike period, a lot of students have suffered. They're not getting the education that they have paid for. We're paying £9,000 plus. International students are paying significantly higher. And unlike us, they're not paying with monopoly money. They're paying with real money that they've saved up for university. So it's important to get what they're paying for. Now, I think firstly, we need to support UCU and the striking lecturers. But the way we do that is not by just backing UCU's attempt to take away that education. So I will campaign and I will implement this policy to create a splinter organization from NUSU. This organization will essentially hire third year and master students, in particular postgraduate research students, to fill the educational gap in terms of knowledge that students would have received otherwise. Now, it won't be up to the same standard that a lecturer would have been able to deliver, but it will be something, and it wouldn't be paid for by students, it would be paid for by the university or NUSU. This would mean that students are getting the education paid for, it will create jobs on campus, like one of Shar's policies, and it would also mean that we can increase the power of UCU. Because a lot of lecturers that I've spoken to, they speak about how they would like to join the picket lines, but they're on the side of students. They don't want students' educational capacities to be removed. So, as a result, they don't join their colleagues. If they knew that their students were getting at least some form of education that they're paying for, they might be more incentivized to join the picket lines with their colleagues, and as a result, putting more pressure on the university to enter the negotiating table with UCU. We can be on the side of both lecturers and students simultaneously. It doesn't need to be one or the other.
Follow-up question.
Sure.
Yeah, so essentially, would it not serve as a conflict of interest? Because in a way, you're kind of replacing the teachers, even though it's temporarily. So won't it be a conflict of interest?
It will be a conflict of interest because we're not representing teachers, we're not representing lecturers, we're representing students. Now, there is the argument that postgraduate research students are represented by NUSU, but they have their own union. They have UCU, they pay their funds into UCU, and UCU, a really powerful and good organisation, will represent them. What's left for the students, the majority of people that we're representing, the 20,000 undergraduates and postgraduate taught students? They need someone to represent them in a collective way, and us having a conflict of interest with UCU has nothing to do with that. They come first, then we can support UCU at the same time as supporting the lecturers who otherwise wouldn't strike.
Perfect, thank you. My second question for you is, what are your plans for financial reform?
Okay, in terms of financial reform, NUSU is really good at shredding money, in my opinion. So I'm the president of the Politics Society, and I've been the president of Planning Society before. And at the end of the day, like the amount of every single year we end on like a budget surplus, and that's because we can't properly budget for the entire year. Firstly, students have to kind of pay their membership fees, and we have to kind of guess what we would like. We kind of have to guess what our expenses would be throughout the year, and that's really difficult because of the way societies and other projects project how their spending will look like. For starters, the special grant system. It's kind of like quite hazy how special grants are allocated. This is a grant allocated to societies to support them with extra initiatives, such as a trip abroad, a trip to a local institution, a guest speaker, to support their students that they pay in for. Now, last year, Geography Society attempted to get us funding for one of their events, and it was rejected. This semester, they applied for the exact same event using the exact same special grant process, and it was accepted. What does that tell us? It tells us that societies can't accurately define what will and won't be accepted in terms of grant funding. So this needs to change. We can institutionalize it using a rational flowchart-like process rather than leaving it up to the ambiguity of a panel. Secondly, that leads to my second point. NUSU, for a lot of funds, has to use those funds in any given year, otherwise the funds get wiped. This means the funds can't roll over to the second year, and it's a frenzy of spending that money as soon as possible. This leads to wastage in terms of economic resources, and as a result of that, it means that future students can't benefit from it.
Yes, go ahead.
So Abdul, you say that NUSU has to use the money every year, but that's not the case because it's a registered charity and it could just pass on the money as a surplus into its bank account.
Okay, so I can't speak for all funds, but I'm referring mainly to the grant system. Say, for example, there was like a time limit on one of the grants, so the The grant application that we did at the beginning of the year, for example, in Politics Society, there was a deadline at that point, and after that deadline passed, the fund that was in our account just got wiped straight away because we didn't have time to make the application for funding. And so those kind of funds are what I'm kind of focusing on.
So you're talking about societies rather than the students' union as a whole?
I'm not talking about the students' union as a whole, I'm
Right.
talking about very
Sorry.
specific pots of money.
Apologies, I just got a
No
bit
problem,
confused
no
because you said NUSU rather than societies.
Sorry.
Are you adding anything?
No, yeah, that was my point.
Great, thank you. My next question, my next set of questions is for Rajnish. So how will you work with societies to increase social events since society committee members are only part-time? Will you be increasing, actually, let me have them actually, sorry. So I'll rephrase. How will you work with societies to increase social events based on your manifesto, essentially?
Okay. To increase the social events, I believe our answer is simple, to just meditate with the society and instruct them to increase the number of society events. But I think, first of all, we need to encourage the students to participate in the society, be a member of society. So if we have more number of members and a big society and staff for society, then it will be easier for them to manage all the people and their time. And to be honest, I didn't prepare any question at the moment because I wanted to be more real and authentic when I was facing this question, because I see the whole the point of doing the debate is getting to know our perspective through the questions. So my perspective is to encourage the students to join more society as much as you can. I want to share one experience. Like I'm quite good in exploring the life. In my first month here in September, I explored pretty much all the cities and joined like a 7 or 8 club society. So all my friends always come and talk to me like where you go and how you do it, and also give us the route how you do all the things. So the thing is, it's easier for me, I believe, because I have a good emotion intelligence with me. I can easily talk to someone and try to be attached with him, showing my similar emotions with him sometimes. So for me, if I become a president, I will easily allow students to join the society and instruct societies to do more social events so they can improve their social skills.
So the second part of my question is that since society committee members are only part-time because they're students rather than like full-time officers, how will you be increasing the number of mandatory members of committee?
Yeah, that's what I said. Like I will increase the number of staff too, so they can be, if they have a lot of members, so they can do the make it 2 shifts sometime, if it is possible. Because social life is also an important aspect for your life too.
Thank you. My second question for you is, can you expand on your plans regarding sexual health?
Okay. So, in my manifesto, I said that to expand to improve the sexual health and awareness among the students, I will be installing the near medical facility near to the campus, if possible, so they can easily reach someone. They can talk about their sexual health, because the sexual health is also plays a major role in your life too. If you can't satisfy your body needs, you cannot. You see rebellion within yourself, because it's a need. It's a balance. It's not about one thing. So sexual health is also a major concern. Sometimes, it's a balance between you and yourself. If you didn't get close to yourself, if you get distance about if you get to distance within yourself, you cannot get close to anyone else. So between your relationship to yourself should be the first and best. Then you can only be close to someone else. So I believe sexual health is very important, and we should acknowledge and improve it.
Thank you. My next set of questions is for Anurag. So, you stated in your manifesto that you have never been in a leadership position. Do you have any transferable skills from other areas you've been involved in?
It's not like per se leadership positions. I have been in the position. It's like I have never led organizations that deals with students. I have an experience of 4 years in working environment. I have been a team leader, I have been a quality lead, I have been a project engineer. So literally I know how to lead a team, and I am kind of a pace setter. I am driven by my ambitions, but I will set a pace for every single day, and based on that, I follow democracy as well. But my primary goal is being a pace setter, and it's definitely transferable skill because it's after all an organization. It's after all some work you are given to do. So in my past, I have done very well with my work experience, and I guess I have that skill to handle this as well. And after all, what I say, it's all about fun. If I'm enjoying this, I'll be doing a great thing here. That's all.
Great, thank you. My next question for you is, what are your ideas? What are your ideas for career development separate from the university's career service?
To be honest, the current career service that our university has is awesome. I have been there, and they have supported me a lot. But the thing that is missing is, right, we only have 1 year. For me, I'm saying, like master students, we only have 1 year. And on top of that, I'll study for 6 months. 7th month, we'll be studying for our dissertation. We get the knowledge, but we don't get the exposure. We need to communicate. When you go for an interview, the main thing is that how you can impress yourself. They won't be looking at your academics all the time. They will be looking how you deal with the customers, how you deal with your clients. So my thing is that get touch with the alumni. They have the experience. Call them to the university and organize mock trials, mock interviews. Let them face their fear. I have a fear. I have as well. Now I can deal with it, but it will help others. There are multiple people like me who need this help. We do very good. They are doing very great in their academics, but they are doing poorly in their communication skills. That's all at the end we need.
Perfect. Thank you for all of your answers. So the final thing I have for all of you is, do you have any closing remarks or questions for anybody else?
Well, I am not prepared.
I think just in general, I think everyone's got a good set of policies. But I think we need to look into the strategy. What can the university achieve and what can we not achieve? Just in regard to Shah's iPad policy, I would really like an iPad, to be fair. And I know that in the STEM faculties, they do get tablets, so it's not impossible. But what I think we need to think about is how can we give students the autonomy to act in the way and experience university life as they choose. So if we took that same money and we transferred it into bursaries, for example, perhaps like enhancement of the participation bursary, it's way better for a student to have that money, the £550 that it would cost with an iPad, in their own pockets, rather than just being given benefits in kind, I guess.
Well, thank you very much for your question. I think, well, first of all, my priority is around cost of living, so helping students with the cost of living. After that, it's about mental health, and after that, it's about iPads. I do think, iPads will provide students with a lot of benefits, but like I say, first priority for me is cost of living crisis, but I'm certainly open to consider other options. And I think, once again, it's about working with the student body, listening to them about what works best for them. But I do think iPads can certainly help students with things like, access to technology. I know a lot of students, like I say, are suffering from cost of living crisis, are struggling to afford technology.
That makes sense. And the flexibility there does matter, right? So thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I think that concludes the presidential debate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Slay.
Yes,